You maybe haven't seen a lot of these. They're extinct now. They don't make them anymore. I think production ended on the last of them around in the 1960s somewhere, if I'm right. They were developed, though, in the 1800s, in the late 1800s. They were used in the Sousa Band. Our own U.S. Marine Band used them. But the little bell doesn't sound as good as the big bell, you know. I think one of the ideas was, though, that you could play within a band setting, do the normal euphonium parts, and then if you're playing in unison with the trombones, particularly in a passage that doesn't require the extra warmth of the euphonium, you'd use a little bell and blend better. Well, I tried it in the Coast Guard band, it didn't work very well, but then our guys were using much larger instruments than the trombones used back when this was made. The bells at the time of a trombone would be closer to this size, now they're usually a lot larger. But it's a nice instrument. The horn has, this one has 4 valves to play the instrument with, the same as the euphonium I was using earlier. The 5th valve around here has only one job, that's to switch the air from the large bell to the small bell. That's all it does. When I played this in the band for the first time, our recording engineer saw me do it. He came up to me later and said, you know, when you walked out with that thing, he said, it looked like there was something that didn't belong. He said, it reminds me of when I went to the carnival and saw a 2-headed cow. So, that image stuck with me, probably 30 years ago. Anyway, the instrument sounds somewhat like euphonium. It's a little smaller than our instruments today. Euphoniums have gotten larger with all the rest of the instruments. This was made in 1935, so it's a different standard back then. But here's a little excerpt from Percy Granger's Lincolnshire Posy, the Brisk Young Sailor Movement, which actually should be played on a baritone horn. I don't have that up on stage with me, but it's often played on euphonium. So that's similar to the euphonium sound. On the little bell, it's not similar. So there's the contrast, it's pretty clear to hear them. We don't know much about what soloists did with these at the time they were popular. I haven't found any articles that said what special effects they might have used. We have already inferred, this was used in literature sometimes, about the dual-purpose bells in a band setting. But for a soloist, the only hint I saw of anything in manufacturer's literature, was the only place I found it, was that the little bell could be used for echo effects. So I'm guessing, since most of these horns were made with an adjustable small bell like this. It might be something like that. Now, though, we're going to use a little simpler approach to using the double bell euphonium. We're going to play a lovely Schubert song. I've used this approach in church a couple times too when I played solos. If it's a repeated melody, what I'll do is I'll play the first time through on the small bell and still try to sound nice. I wouldn't play it as brassy as I played that excerpt a minute ago. And then your ear gets kind of accustomed to that, and then on the second time through I'd use the large bell. And that's the only switching I would do, but you get a little extra warmth in the second time through. I'm going to do that on the Schubert. I'm pointing the bell away from you folks, more in a French horn style. So again, because the euphonium bell, after all, is pointing away as well. And I don't want any more contrast than there is just in the tone color of the two instruments.